So this is what we discussed in the last session, custom dialog. So by using custom dialog, we can create our own user interface and we can display the UI on dialog. We can display the UI. Okay. So if you want to display the dialog box, we are having a class called android.app.dialog is a class. So this is a super class for all the dialog boxes. So whatever the XML file you want to display on dialog, d.setContentView is the method and specify the XML file. So if you specify the XML file, so this user interface will display on the dialog. So d.show is a method. So if you want to get the UI components, so this is a statement. So in the last class we discussed custom dialog we discussed. So next we'll discuss alert dialog. What is the next one? Alert dialog. So alert dialog is one of the built-in dialog box. Alert dialog is what? One of the built-in dialog box. Okay. Alert dialog is one of the built-in dialog box with few built-in functionalities. With few built-in functionalities like title, message, icon, and max you can create. And max you can create 3 possible buttons we can create. And max you can create 3 possible buttons. We cannot create more than 3 buttons. Okay, max you can create how many buttons? 3 buttons you can create. It's one of the built-in dialog box. So with few built-in functionalities like title, message, icon, and max you can create how many buttons? 3 buttons you can create. So, okay. So the syntax of alert dialog is alert dialog dot builder is equals to new alert dialog dot builder of this. Okay. So first we had to create an object for alert dialog class. We had to create an object. Okay. And for this alert dialog, we can set the type. We can set the alert dialog builder dot. There is a method called set title is a method. You can specify the title here. What is the title for your dialog box, and you can set the message. You can set by using the title. You can set and builder dot set message is the method. You can specify your own message. You can specify here title. You can specify the message, and you can specify your own icon. You can specify by using builder dot set icon is a method. Specify the image r dot drawable dot image name. Okay, and I told you right, max you can create 3 buttons. You can create title, message, icon, and max you can create how many buttons? 3 buttons you can create max. Builder dot, there is a method called set positive button is one method. Set positive button. So we had to specify the text comma listener. Builder dot set positive. So set positive button. Set positive button. Set negative button. Set neutral button. Set positive, set negative, and set neutral. I mean, you can create 3 buttons. You can create maximum, but they given in names. They given for the buttons like positive, negative, and neutral. So first thing is a text. Second parameter is a listener, and so builder dot show is the method. So with this statement, we can display dialog. We can display. Okay, and so if we click any one of the dialog button, if we click any alert dialog button, if we click any alert dialog button, it will invoke the following listener. If we click if we click any dialog button, it will invoke the following listener. If we click any dialog button, it will invoke the following listener. That is alert dialog dot on click listener. If we click any dialog button, it will invoke the following listener. That is alert dialog dot on click listener is equals to a new alert dialog dot on click listener. If we click any dialog button, it will invoke the following listener. That is alert dialog dot on click listener is equals to new alert dialog dot on click listener. It contains an abstract method called on click method. This on click method is taking two parameters as input. First parameter is a dialog object. Second parameter is a which. Int which is a second parameter. This second parameter, this which will tell you, the second parameter is which, right? This which parameter will tell you the button type. Which will tell you what? It's an integer type. This integer type will tell you the button type, it will tell you. Because if you click, we had to configure the same listener we had to configure for the three buttons. For positive button, negative button, and neutral button. For the three buttons, we had to configure the listener we had to configure. If you click any button, it will invoke the same listener it will invoke. To identify here from which button you got a request, the second parameter is used, which. Okay. So we'll do one thing. Whatever we did for the custom dialog, the same thing we'll do for alert dialog also here. So imagine this is a device screen and I want to create a button I want to create here. Let's create a button called custom. So in our last class, we already created a button called custom. So now we'll create a button called alert is a button. We'll create a button with the text alert. Okay. So once if you click the alert button, so we'll display one dialog will display. So once when user clicks the alert button, so we'll display one dialog will display. So here we'll specify the title will display here. Message is a title, and next we'll display message will display. Are you sure want to exit? Are you sure want to exit? I want to display this message I want to display, and here I want to create two buttons I want to create. End of the screen I want to create two buttons I want to create. One is the S button and another thing is no button. So message is a title and I want to display a message. So are you sure want to exit is a message, and I want to create two buttons I want to create. One is the S button, another thing is what? No button. Yes and no. So when user clicks the S button, completely will close this dialog. When user select the S button, will close the dialog box, will close, and completely will destroy the activity. Okay. And when user selects the no button, just only will dismiss the dialog box. I'll repeat once again. When user clicks no, just only will dismiss the dialog box. When user selects the S button, completely will close the dialog and completely will destroy the activity. Okay. So now we'll see this one. So we'll open our yesterday's project. We'll open our yesterday's project. Dialogs test is our project name, our last project. First we'll run the application and we'll see our last class example, custom. Okay, it will take some time to start this virtual device. Meanwhile, what we'll do is, so this is this is our previous project. In our previous class, just we created one button we created called custom button. It's loading still. Okay. So last class we created a button called custom button we created. So now here we'll create one more button called so we'll create one more button here called alert. Okay. So let's configure the click event for this alert button. An XML file. We create a button called alert. Let's configure the click event for this alert method. Android on click is equals to alert. Okay. So we had to create this method, this alert method we had to create in Java. Okay. So public void alert. Okay. So if you want to display alert dialog, if you want to display, we are having a class called alert dialog dot builder is the class. So builder is equals to new alert dialog dot builder of. We had to specify the activity object. We had to specify, that is this. For this alert dialog, we'll specify the title. Will specify the builder object dot. There is a method called set title is a method. Specify the title here. So I want to specify the title. A message is a title I want to display. So what is the title? Message is a title for our application. Okay. And whatever the message you want to set, so let's specify that message by using a method called set message is a method. We'll specify the message here. Are you sure want to exit? So are you sure want to exit is a message I want to display. And so we'll specify icon also. Will specify image. Builder dot set icon is a method. Specify the image name. R dot drawable dot specify the image name. By default, we are having an image called. There is no images in the drawable folder. What we'll do is we'll place an image into this drawable folder and we'll set that image as an icon. Okay, this is an image, for example. Placeholder is an image. I'll place this image into this drawable folder. I'll place the image. I'll place in the drawable folder. I'll place that image placeholder. Okay, so r dot drawable dot placeholder. Okay, so r dot drawable dot placeholder. This is a icon, and builder dot there is a method called set positive button is the method. We'll specify the text. Will specify. I want to create two buttons. I want to create. First thing is a text. Second parameter is a listener. Builder dot set positive button, and another thing is set negative button. Set negative button, specify the text no, and second parameter specify the listener. Okay, we'll see what is that listener. Okay, and builder dot show is a method. So if we click any button, if we click yes button or no button, if we click yes button or no button, we'll call the listener will call. If we click yes button and no button, it is going to call the listener. So let's specify the listener here. What is the listener? Alert dialog dot on click listener. A listener is equals to new alert dialog dot on click listener. Okay, so I told you right. If you click any button, new alert dialog dot on click listener. This on click listener contains one. So first we have to import this alert dialog. We have to import first. It contains an abstract method called on click method. It contains one abstract method called what? On click is the abstract method. So once if you, so here we specified the same listener we specified for the two buttons, yes button and no button. For yes button and no button, we specified the same listener we specified, alert dialog dot on click listener. Okay. So if we click yes button or no button, it is going to call the same method. It's going to call on click method. In this on click method, we had to identify, we got a request from which button. You got a request from positive button or you got a request from negative button. So to identify that one, there is a second parameter called which. This which parameter will tell you whether you got a request from positive button or negative button. So we'll write the logic here. If which is double is equals to the request from positive button dialog dot button underscore positive. If the request from positive button, so this block is going to call the request from positive button, this block is going to call if which is double is equals to dialog dot button underscore negative. If the request from positive button, this block will call. If the request from negative button, this block will call, else block will call. The request from positive button, so this block will call. If the request from negative button, this block will call. If the request from positive button, so we'll dismiss the dialog box, we'll dismiss first. Dialog dot dismiss is a method. The request from positive button, dialog dot dismiss is a method to dismiss the dialog box. And completely, if you want to destroy the activity, there is a method called finish is a method completely to destroy the activity. So simply just if you want to dismiss the dialog box, just only call the dialog dot dismiss method. That's it. You need to destroy the activity, you need to destroy. Okay. So we'll test the application. So now click on this alert. So once if you click on this alert, we are displaying the alert dialog. This is what the icon we specified, and this is a title, message is the title, and this is the message we specified. Are you sure want to exit? So once if you click no button, simply we are dismissing the dialog box. So once if you click yes button, so we are closing the dialog box and completely we are destroying the activity. Okay. So this is the alert dialog. See, the same thing we created by using custom dialog also we created the same UI, I guess. By using custom dialog also, we created the same UI we created. But see how it is looking. Is it UI is looking good? in custom dialog. This is a UI in custom dialog, and this is a UI in alert dialog. Okay, this is a UI in alert dialog. Okay, so you'll get the nice UI. I mean, better user interface you'll get, better look and feel you'll get in alert dialog than the custom dialog. Okay, so majority of the places, the people will get a requirement of using alert dialog than the custom dialog. But one limitation is also there in alert dialog, that is maximum we can create how many buttons? Like this, 3 buttons we can create maximum. And you can set only title, message, icon and all. For example, I want to display my own video file I want to display. Or I want to display one image I want to display in dialog. Okay, so like these kind of thing you cannot display in alert dialog. Only title, message, icon, and you can create 2 buttons you can create, that's it. Okay, so that is alert dialog. So based on your requirement, you have to select which one you have to use, alert dialog or the custom dialog. Okay, if you have a requirement of more than 3 buttons or images or video files on the screen, then go for custom dialog. If you have a requirement of just displaying a title, message, icon and 1 or 2 buttons, then go for alert dialog, that's better. Okay, so that is the alert dialog. And we are having two more controls, that is date picker and time picker. So we are having 2 more controls for date picker and time picker. So next one, we'll see. Basically in the applications, you'll get a requirement of, getting the date from the user or taking the time from the user. Basically, if you get a requirement of getting the date from the user or time from the user. So date picker dialog. So we had to create an object for date picker dialog. Date picker dialog dpd is equals to new date picker dialog of date picker dialog is equals to new date picker dialog of first parameter we had to specify this, I mean the activity object we had to specify. Second thing is the listener, we'll specify what is that listener. First thing is that this, I mean the activity object we had to specify. Second parameter is the listener. Third parameter is the day. Third parameter is day. Fourth parameter is month. I mean default date. When you click on when the date picker dialog is came, what is the default date you want to display? I had to specify. So day, comma month, comma year. Okay, and so date picker dialog dot show is a method for displaying the dialog box. Okay, and if we change the date, it will invoke the following listener. If we change the date, it will invoke the following listener, that is date picker dialog dot on date set listener. If we change the date, it will invoke the following listener, that is date picker dialog dot on date set listener is equals to date picker dialog dot on date set listener is equals to new date picker dialog dot on date set listener. So whenever you change the date, it is going to call this method. It will call, what is the method name? On date set method will call. It contains a method called, this listener contains a method called on date set is a method. In this on date set method, you will get the updated date you will get. You'll get some input parameters you will get. That updated date you will get in this on date set method. The updated date you will get in this on date set method. Okay, and so next thing is time picker dialog. Okay, so time picker dialog is used to get time as input from the user. So time picker dialog, which is used to get the time as the input from the user. So we had to create an object for time picker dialog. So in short, tpd is equals to, so new time picker dialog, we had to specify few input parameters. First thing is we had to specify the activity object we had to specify, I mean this will specify. And second parameter is the listener. time picker dialog is equals to new time picker dialog. First thing is this, second parameter is listener, third parameter is hour, fourth parameter is minute, third parameter is hour, fourth parameter is minute, and fifth parameter is 24 hours format. What is the last parameter? 24 hours format. And so timepicker dialog dot show is the method. Timepicker dialog dot show is the method for displaying the timepicker dialog. Okay, and if we change the time, if we change the time, it will invoke the following listener. If we change the time, it will invoke the following listener, that is timepicker dialog dot on time set listener. Whenever you change the time in timepicker dialog, it is going to call this method. It will call, what is the method name? On time set listener is a method. So timepicker dialog dot on time set listener. Timepicker dialog dot on time set listener is equals to new timepicker dialog dot on time set listener. So whenever the time is changed, it will call this method. It will call, what is the method name? On time set is a method. Whenever you change the time, it is going to call this method. It's going to call on time set method. In this on time set method, whenever you change the time, it is going to call this on time set method will call. Okay, so now we will develop an application. For demonstrating this date picker dialog and the time picker dialog. Now we'll develop an application for demonstrating the date picker dialog as well as the time picker dialog. So this 24 hours format, the last parameter here is nothing but a Boolean type, meaning if you specify true, you will get the time in a 24 hours format. If you specify false, you will get the time in a 12 hours format. You will get with the AM and PM support. You will get. Okay. So now we'll develop an application for demonstrating this a date picker and time picker. So here we'll create two buttons. So first thing is custom dialog. Discuss the custom dialog we discussed. Then after that we discuss alert dialog. So now here we'll create two more buttons. We'll create here. One is date picker and time picker. Here we'll create two buttons. That is DPD, date picker dialog box. So date picker dialog, and we'll create one more button called TPD, time picker dialog. Date picker dialog and time picker dialog. So we create two buttons. We'll create date picker and time picker, and we'll create two text view components initially. Here we'll create two text view components, meaning once if I select this date picker dialog, I have to display one dialog box. It has to display one dialog box. Whenever if we select any date, set that date to this text view component, and whenever you change the time, set the time to this time picker dialog. Okay. So we'll create two buttons. We'll create here. One is for date picker dialog, and one more thing is for time picker dialog. Let's configure the click event for this DPD and TPD. So date picker dialog and time picker dialog. Okay, let's configure the click event for these two buttons. So DPD and TPD. DPD and TPD, date picker dialog and the time picker dialog. And so we'll create two large text view components we'll create here. Okay. So whenever we click the date TPD button, we have to display a date picker dialog we have to display. And when user updates the date, set that updated date to this text view components. This is our requirement. Okay. So let's create these two methods in the Java file. So dpd and tpd methods. Time picker dialog. Okay. And okay. So if you want to display a date picker dialog, let's create an object for date picker dialog. dp dialog or dpd is equals to new date picker dialog of, okay. So total we had to specify 5 parameters we had to specify. First thing is this, I mean the current class activity object. Second parameter is the listener. So now specify listener text, that's it. We'll see what is a listener. Third parameter is the third parameter we had to specify day, month and year. So we had to specify day, we had to specify first. So let's take today for example 27, right? So we'll specify 27. Month. So month, for example, month today it's May, right? So May means the count is going to start with 0 in case of system terminology. In case of system terminology, with the month it starts with 0. So we'll specify April means we'll specify 04 we'll specify, and year will specify 2016. Okay. So month count it's going to start with 0. So that's why May means we specified 04 we specified. Okay. And so date picker dialog dot show is the method. So date picker dialog dot show is the method, okay, for displaying the date picker dialog. So second parameter is the listener. First parameter is this. Second parameter is what? We had to specify listener. We had to specify. Second parameter is what? Listener. So that is date picker dialog dot on date set listener. Listener is equals to new date picker dialog dot on date set listener. Date picker dialog dot on date set listener. Listener is equals to new date picker dialog dot on date set listener. So whenever you change the date, whenever you change the date, it will call this method. It will call which method? It will call on date set method. In this on date set method, so let's get the text view component into your Java code. tv1 is equals to text view. Find view by id of r.id dot text view. See what is the text view for this id for this one. It's text view 2 component. So let's specify text view 2 component into Java code. r.id dot text view 2. Okay. So the updated date will set for text v1. So tv1 dot, okay. So tv1 dot set text is a method. tv1 dot set text is a method. Okay. So we'll display the updated date, updated month, and updated year. We'll set for text v1 component. For text v1 component, so we'll set the updated date, month, and year. One is day of the month plus updated day of the month, month of year, the last thing is year. Okay, so we are getting the updated date, month and year we are getting. So we are setting that updated date and month and year to the text view one component we are setting. Okay, so next, when user selects the time picker dialog button, so let's display the time picker dialog. Time picker dialog TPD is equals to new time picker dialog. So here total we have to specify 5 parameters here. We have to display for this time picker dialog. This second parameter we have to specify the listener. We have to specify second parameter is a listener. Okay. So third parameter is nothing but hour. So now for example it's 10:04. So we'll specify 22. I specified for 10. So 04 minutes. And the last parameter is 24 hours format. If you want to display the time in 24 hours format, we'll specify true. We'll specify. So if you want to display the time in 12 hours format, let's specify false. Okay. So for example, I want to display the time in 12 hours format. I want to display. Let's specify false here. If you want to display the time in 12 hours format, if you want to display, we'll specify as what? False will specify. Okay. Okay. So let's specify time picker dialog dot show is a method. TPD dot show is the method for displaying the time picker dialog. Okay. So but we had to specify the second parameter. We had to specify whenever the time is changed. Whenever the time is changed, it will invoke the following listener. It will invoke, that is second parameter. We have to specify the listener. We have to specify the second parameter, that is time picker dialog dot on time set listener. Listener is equals to new time picker dialog dot on time set listener. Whenever the time is changed, whenever the time is changed, it will invoke this listener. It will invoke. Whenever the time is changed, it will invoke this listener. It will invoke. Okay. So in this time set listener, whenever the time is changed, it will invoke this listener. So whenever the time is changed, it will invoke this listener. It will invoke on time set listener. Okay. Whenever the time is changed, it will invoke this on time set listener will invoke. Okay. Second parameter we have to specify the listener object. We have to specify. So you'll get the updated hour and updated minute. You will get this updated hour and minute will set to text view component. So text view. Text view is equal to text view of find view by ID r.id dot text view 3. Okay. So we'll set that updated hour and minute to text view component will set tv dot. So method called set text. I'll get the updated hour. Will get hour of the day, hour of the day, and minute. Okay. So we'll test the application. Let's see. So it contains 2 errors. We'll see what are the 2 errors. It's not showing any errors. And just problem with semicolon. We forgot to give a semicolon. See, observe date picker dialog. So click on this date picker dialog button. We got a date picker dialog box. Okay. So you got a date picker dialog. We got here. So if you select any date, we are setting that updated date. We are setting to the specified. Click on date picker dialog. Okay. So month. Just once again, I'll change the phone timing. I'll change basically for demonstrating multi-language. I changed the time and change multi-language Basha. So click on DPD, date picker dialog. 3020 అర్థం అట్లా. Okay. So if you change any date, if you change the updated date, for example 2017, 5th November is specified. Okay. So once if you select this OK button, so we are setting that updated date. Whatever the date you selected in date picker dialog, we are setting that updated date. We are setting to the date picker dialog. Okay. And same like that time picker dialog also. So once if you take time picker dialog, see now we specify the default time we specified as 10:04 we specified. So by default, we specify the default time as 10:04. So if you update any time, if you update, for example, now I selected 8:30, I selected 8:30 p.m. So once if we update the time and click on OK button, so once if we click OK button, so it is going to call this a listener, it's going to call, it will call the listener, it will call. In the listener, we are setting that updated time, we are setting to the text view component. Okay. So this is the date picker dialog and time picker dialog. This is about the date picker dialog component and the time picker dialog. Okay. So next we are having two more dialog box. I mean two dialog boxes. One is a progress dialog. So next thing is we'll discuss what progress dialog we'll discuss. Next we'll discuss progress dialog. We'll discuss next. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll come back in 2 minutes. We'll discuss progress dialog. We'll discuss. Okay. So now, is it audible? Yeah. So we'll discuss another last type of dialog boxes, that is indeterminate. Sorry, progress dialog. Basically, in progress dialog, there are two types of progress dialogs are there. One is indeterminate progress dialog, indeterminate progress dialog, and another thing is determinate progress dialog. Indeterminate and determinate progress dialogs. Progress dialog, there are two types of progress dialogs are there. One is indeterminate progress dialog, and another thing is what? Determinate progress dialog. Indeterminate and determinate. Okay. So basically, if you want to display any progress, if you want to display any progress to the user, so we use these dialog boxes we use. Okay. For example, basically if you see any applications, so while it is loading the data, okay. So here we'll create two more buttons. We'll create one is for indeterminate progress by dialog. Another thing is a determinate progress dialog. One is what? Indeterminate progress dialog is one thing, and another one is a determinate progress dialog. Indeterminate progress dialog. Another thing is what? Determinate progress dialog. So when user clicks indeterminate progress dialog, when user clicks indeterminate button, when user clicks indeterminate button, so we'll display one progress dialog. Will display. We will display one dialogs. Will display one dialog box. Will display. Okay, and we'll specify a title. We'll specify our dialog box. Message is a title. Okay, and so we'll display one beside this message. Okay, so we'll display one progress. I mean this rotation symbol. Basically, even in your computer also, if it is 1 second. Hello. అవునా ఏముందంటున్నా okay, so this is a so data. Hello. సరే అండి ఒక స్పెషల్ చికెన్ ఫ్రైడ్ రైస్ అండి. ఓకే అండి, థ్యాంక్ యూ. Okay. So we'll display one dialog box. Will display. Basically, even in your computer also, while it is loading some data, generally we'll display this circle kind of thing. Will display. So that is indeterminate progress dialog. So we're specifying a title. Okay, and if you want to display, you can display a message like please wait. So page is loading like that. Please wait, page is loading. Okay, so this is indeterminate progress dialog. Basically, when we use this indeterminate, basically if you don't know how much time it will take to complete a specific process, if you don't know how much time it will take to complete a specific process, basically at that time we use this indeterminate progress dialog we use. And determinant means if you know how much time it will take to complete a specific task. If you don't know how much time it will take to complete a specific task, at that time we use indeterminate progress dialog. A determinate progress dialog means if you know how much time it will take to complete a specific task, at that time we use this determinate progress dialog we use. I'll repeat once again. If you know how much time it will take to complete a specific task, at that time we use this determinant. For example, message is a title and I want to create one. So basically determinant means it will show you the status, how much process is completed, still how much process is remaining. So for example, 10% is completed, 20% is completed. So basically it will show you the progress it will show you. So how much If you can estimate the time, how much time it will take to complete a specific task at that time, we use a determinant progress dialog we use. Indeterminate, if you cannot estimate the time, use indeterminate. If you can estimate the time, use the determinant progress dialog. Okay. So now let's see what is the syntax of this displaying the progress dialogs. So progress dialog. So p dialog is equals to new progress dialog of this. I mean, the specify the activity object. Progress dialog dot set title is the method. Specify the title here. Whatever the title you want to display, let's specify the title. And if you want to display any message, progress dialog dot set title, set message is the method. Set title, set title, specify the message here. What are the message you want to display? Progress dialog dot set title, set message, specify the message here. If you want to set any icon, progress dialog dot set icon is the method. Specify r dot drawable dot specify the image name. Okay, and progress dialog dot, if you want to display the determinant progress dialog, if you want to display, one second just. So progress dialog dot, there is a method called set progress style is the method. Set progress style is the method. So here we'll specify progress dialog dot style underscore spinner. This is for this style underscore spinner. Progress dialog dot set progress style of progress dialog dot style underscore spinner. This is for indeterminate progress dialog. This is for indeterminate progress dialog. Basically, if you don't know how much time it will take to complete a specific task, at that time we'll specify this indeterminate. If you know how much time it will take to complete, then that is determinate progress dialog. So progress dialog dot set progress dialog. You cannot apply both. You cannot apply for single thing. Either you can apply for determinate or indeterminate. So progress dialog dot style underscore horizontal. So progress dialog dot style underscore horizontal. For this horizontal is for what? This horizontal is for determinant progress dialog. Okay, and progress dialog dot show is the method for displaying the progress dialog. Okay, so this is syntax for displaying the progress dialog. So now what we'll do is we'll create two buttons. We'll create here for demonstrating this determinant progress dialog and indeterminate progress dialog. Okay, let's configure the click event. One is indeterminate. You cannot estimate the time. Indeterminate progress dialog. Indeterminate and determinant progress dialog. Indeterminate progress dialog and determinant progress dialog. Let's configure the click event for these two buttons, indeterminate and determinate. On click is equals to indeterminate. On click is equals to indeterminate and Android colon on click is equals to determinate. Android colon on click is equals to indeterminate and determinate. We had to create these two methods. We had to create in the Java file. This indeterminate and determinate methods. These two methods we had to create in Java file. We had to create these two methods. Indeterminate. So view is the input parameter for this one. Another thing is determinant, public void determinant, indeterminate and determinant. Okay, so in this indeterminate method, the same code, so here again the syntax, right? Let's copy the syntax and specify here indeterminate. Okay, so indeterminate means we use this style underscore spinner attribute field for indeterminate. So in these double quotes, first specify the title here. For example, message is the title, and next thing is we'll specify the message here next. Are you sure want to exit? This is the message I want to display, and let's specify the image name r.drawable.placeholder. Okay, so this is for indeterminate. If you want to display the determinate progress dialog, okay, so style underscore in place of spinner, let's specify style underscore horizontal for indeterminate progress dialog. Okay, so let's run the application and see. Okay, let's select this indeterminate. So continuously we are getting this rotation symbol. So whenever your operation is completed, just you can call the progress dialog or dismiss is a method for dismissing the progress dialog. Okay, so this is for indeterminate progress dialog. Select this determinant. So once if you select the determinant button, basically you'll get the progress you will get. So this is the determinant progress dialog. You can increase the progress, you can increase here. Okay, if you want to know this, we already discussed the media player concept. We already discussed how to update this progress. Okay, just see that class once again, that media player class, how to update the position of this seek bar automatically by using a concept called handler. Okay, so basically these are the dialog boxes we are having. Okay, so custom dialog, alert, date picker, time picker, and the progress dialogs. Okay, so thank you, and any queries in the today's session? Okay, so in the next class we'll discuss our remaining services. We discussed two services. We discussed, I guess, three services we discussed: location, notification, and sensor. We discussed three services. There are other three services are there. By tomorrow I'll complete the remaining three services. I'll complete, and so after that we'll start the advanced standard. Will start. I mean, calling the web services logic. So that GCM concept and all will discuss advanced concepts. Okay. So thank you and see you tomorrow.